Okay, great. Hello, Facebook and YouTube and anywhere else that this is uh, broadcasting now. Um, I wanted to share some tips on parenting and especially when it comes to training our kids in the home. Of course, I don't know, for us, it was easier when the kids were home from school to do that with the homeschooling. But we did both. And I guess a lot more of the training went on when we were homeschooling. So that's probably the times that I'll refer to more. But if I think of some things that came up that we could specifically train in when they were in school, I will bring that up. But that was a way different lifestyle for us. And anyway, I wanted to share things that I have done and still do because I still have five kids in the home and a couple of them in the still elementary, early, junior high years. And so there are things that I do to help them grow because my focus and perspective for them is that they're only with me for a little while and then they need to go do life on their own. When they're around 18 or so is usually when they, continue on and move to the next thing. Well, I want them to be able to flow in that and not be wondering how they're going to cook dinner because they've only done ramen noodles. Or I want them to have an idea of, how to keep it up their room and a bathroom clean. And just even if they aren't perfect at that in your home or even as they leave, at least they've seen it. At least they've had a chance to be a part of that and to kind of flow in that. And so that's my heart for training my kids in everything that I can. If it's something that they can do, I usually pass it on to them. Now, as far as like meals and things like that, I do some of that, like they're gone or they're playing outside or whatever. I do some of that, but if they're around and they aren't doing anything specific, then I call them in and either we work together on it or I just ask them if they would just put the meal together. And sometimes I have a plan and other times I really don't. And so it gives them a chance to make a plan. And I like that because I like them to be creative and think about what they would like to eat. And, that's what we can do if we have the food in the house, the ingredients and things. Or if it works to have someone go to the store and get some that evening or that afternoon, then we'll do that as well. But I like to just think, okay, they're going to be on their own. And so I want them to know these things. It's important to me. Not that I have everything done perfect and my way, but that they are getting a chance to get their hands in there. And I found that they really like to be a part of the family. They like to be a part of what is going on in the home. That's their first true community that they get to experience and work together with others in. And so it's huge to have a family unit that is peaceful and in order. And even if there's I mean, we've had all the different things in our home where, of course, as younger parents, we were growing learning. There was more anger in the home and more um, just us growing up as people, as parents. And so we've seen all that and the growth. Like I'm thankful that I'm not the same parent that I was with my first few kids because I was a young parent. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the knowledge of how to go about the parenting as much as I do now with my last five kids, right? And so they've all kind of had a different parent. So if your kids say, why did you let so and so do this and now we can't, or the older one saying, why are you letting them do anything that we couldn't do, all the things. Well, it's because I'm a different parent and I'm wiser and older and have more experience behind me. And so that allows me to soften up in some areas and then be more concerned about other areas, more strict or whatever. And so I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for just the growth that's taken place and should have. And so don't feel bad as a parent if your kids are saying that. I explain to mine, I'm glad I'm not the same parent. As we go about our home, and it's looked all different over the years, but one thing that I like to do is give them an opportunity to be in the kitchen. I like at at the younger years, I like them to help put away the silverware, even if they're not put in the exact right places. I didn't care. I just appreciated the help, and I understood that I wasn't going for perfection here, which isn't really realistic anyway, but I was going for training and love and just giving my children a chance to just be helpful, which usually makes them happy, especially at those younger years. And if you start them young, then they usually flow in it better and not so many attitudes when it's the time to help with something. And but don't be afraid of working through those attitudes because you want them to learn to be willing and to be helpful. And sometimes it takes a little bit to work through the different attitudes that come when they're asked to do the dishes or when they're asked to bring their laundry into the laundry room or get that going. And it's just it's good to train in that. No, you don't have to have an attitude as you do this. You can be respectful, willing, obedient. For the word says the willing and obedient will get the best of the land. So we want to train our children to be willing and obedient in all that they do. And that verse comes from Isaiah. Another verse that I'm thinking of is from Proverbs 22:6 that talks about train up your child in the way they should go, and when they are old, they shall not depart from it. So if you're doing that training of clean up your room, clean up the bathroom, if you're just flowing in that, not in a perfection way, because if you pick at all that they do, they will want to quit. They won't want to do it anymore. So I was probably, as a younger parent, I was probably more picky. I wanted things done a certain way. And I quickly learned that that didn't work very well because I would discourage them instead of saying, "Oh, good job. You did an amazing job. It looks so much better in here." If I picked at it, they they would have shut down and they did shut down. And so I learned to be thankful for what they were doing. And I saw that in time, they did get it. Okay. And it didn't all have to be done my way. I think that's the biggest thing. I remember when I would go and I would sit down on the couch. We have an open kitchen living room. So the couch was actually facing the kitchen area that I would sit on at that time. And I would read to my younger kids, or, I would be doing something with them there. Well, the older kids, I might be saying 8, 10, 11, right in those ages when they were kind of first getting into the kitchen more, wanting to do more. Probably around 10 was more of the age, but anywhere above or below that a little bit. And the reason I did that is because if I was in the kitchen at that point, I would have been like, oh, pick up that mess, if they spilt flour or uh, broke something or just anything, any kind of mess was happening, I would be kind of uptight about it and would want it cleaned up quickly instead of kind of letting them flow in the kitchen and then clean up at the end, unless if it was something major that needed to be. So I found myself sitting down in a spot with the younger kids and just being there if they had a question and kind of had my eyes over there a little bit if so that they were being safe, you know. And then they would come to me with their recipe, if they had a question about it, or they would say, "Hey, Mom, does this sound right?" And I would answer them and just flow. But I found that I was flowing with them better if I wasn't right there. So if that's something that you struggle with, what if you go sit down in the room nearby, maybe where you can have your eye on them a little bit, but be doing something else so you're just not right there trying to take over. And then if it was me at that point, I would be like, just let me do it and you go. But I wanted the help and I wanted them to learn. And that's the case in all the training, just being very patient and not expecting it perfect or to be done exactly like you would do it, because otherwise nobody wants to help because it's so rigid and there's no flexibility there. Even in the laundry room, I have taught all my children how to wash clothes, and I've had to repeat things, right? But that's part of the training, is that you're in reminding and going over things often. But they all know how to wash their own clothes. And by 9, 10, they can pretty much do it on their own if you will work with them and show them how. And sometimes you need to remind them, but they really do enjoy being a part of what is going on in the home. It makes them feel important and like they uh, are a part of something. And it's so important to feel a part of the family. And so I'm thankful that after our kids were in school, and now we've brought them home the last couple of years, it was really difficult to train them. I know there was training going on, like working with them on their homework or just working on different attitudes and picking up their room, being peaceful as they went to school, and working with them how they were being at school, like all those things. Uh, we didn't get a lot of the other type of training in those years is what I noticed as I brought them home. But now we are in more of a flow again of helping everyone pitching in when we get groceries. Various ones of us will go, and then whoever's here helps bring things in and we get it put away. We're just flowing better as a family, but that takes intention, intentionality, and just being consistent in asking and asking with a sweet tone. And I often, if there's an attitude, I'll go, don't worry about it. I'm not going to, you know, argue about this right now. Or if it's a time to discipline, I'll discipline as well, because I do want them to know that when they're asked to do something, there doesn't need to be a lot of drama around it. So I just wanted to share some of that with you because I know that it can be so exhausting. And as a parent, sometimes you just want to do it yourself and not have the chitter chatter or the argument or just like all the drama around if they're going to help. But if you can just work with them on that, it will be a blessing to you when they are, 10, 11, 12, and they're willing to help and they want to help and they like being in the kitchen and they like being with you. Because if we always push them away and have them go play or do this, how are they learning for their own lives and families to do the daily tasks? And that's what I don't want my kids to have to really struggle in. I want them to be able to pretty much be able to flow in the kitchen, in the laundry room, cleaning the home, just all those things. And so, whatever I can instill in them when they're younger, then that's what I like to do. So, I wanted to just share on that, and I'm going to try to share more on some of that more um, parenting, mothering things because I do also wear that hat as far as homeschool mom, mom of a large family, and have just experienced a lot in that way, so that we flow way better as a family. Not perfectly, nothing's perfect, but I am thankful where we're at and where all of our kids are as far as that goes. They've done well, moving forward out of our home, and the ones here are growing and developing and just a blessing in our lives. So watch for that coming up. I'm going to try to do more videos on that. And then also, I wanted to share with you a few things. First of all, if you haven't got my books, they're up here behind me, covered on a deeper level. Get those, go through them with your group, and then have me come and do like a 1 or 2 day seminar for you, speaking on some of that after you're done, or invite me to come and lead you through if you're going through that on a weekly basis. And if you're more local, then I can do that. Anyway, I have two other books. They're devotionals, What If You Believed and What If You Obeyed? And those are 31-day devotionals, and they're transformational. All my books are meant to help you walk out in your true identity, walking with God, growing through trials, believing the word of God over what's happening, trusting God, um, just changing your life. And so I encourage you to grab those books. Next, if you need a coach, if you need some help moving forward, reach out to me. I do one-on-one. I do group coaching. I also have a coaching certification program. So if you're wanting to become a coach, even if you want the coaching just for your family, it's huge. I've been able to help my family so much in knowing some of these tools and training with that. And so, whether or not you want to do it as a business or whatever, it's huge, helpful, and we're going to need people that can help people move forward in the days to come as we are living in the last days. And there are many people that are going to be coming to the Lord and need to have the teaching and the coaching of moving forward from their past. So that's that. If you want me to come speak to your women's group, to a homeschool group, um, just a service for men and women, because I speak, my husband can speak as well if you want that. So we are available to come and encourage and just minister to your group. So reach out for that. We also have an online group. It's called Grab Another Gear. So if you want to be a part of that, watch for uh, the link to register. So far, the link or to register, you just need my What If You Believed book, because that's what we'll be going through. And we'd love to have you. We're talking faith, family, business, leadership, and just encouraging you moving forward. We also have a local group, Let Us Gather. So if you are interested in gathering with a group of believers and moving forward in your faith, walking in your true identity, we encourage you to get a hold of us. That one as well. You'll need my What If You Believed book. I have some. We can get some ordered for you and come and be a part of that. That one includes some food. So we'll be having fixing a main meal and then having you bring in side. So those are some things that are happening, and we're super excited to be able to invite you to those things. Don't wait. Get involved in a community where you can grow and be encouraged in your faith with your family, your business, and all things leadership and faith. So thank you so much for being here. God bless you and have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you soon.